This time, the internet was wise and archived all of his socials as much as possible before the FBI took it all down. So here's some basics on what we know about him and one really interesting rabbit hole about who he might be.
Another assassination attempt on the life of Donald Trump, this time while he was, as BBC said, between holes on a golf course, which is sort of an odd detail for them to report. Would he be, what, at a hole, in a hole? In any event, no shots were fired, but it's the identity of the perpetrator or would-be perpetrator that is raising most questions. Ryan Ralph seems to have a pretty extraordinary social media history. Let's have a look at that now together. This is a very enjoyable little video that I've been watching. Let's have a look at this. This is a brilliant little figure Instagram video that makes some interesting observations about the social media history of Ryan Ralph, grabbed prior to it being scrubbed. This goes beyond the usual territory of speculative conspiracy theory pundits, a moniker that I'm often given. Edward Snowden himself considers this to be an unusual event. In fact, 2 assassination attempts on the life of a presidential candidate in a matter of months has got to be considered peculiar by anybody's standards. Let's have a look at this video before having a more intrinsic and integrated look into the peculiar identity of the man that has made the most recent and hopefully last assassination attempt on Donald Trump.
This time, the internet was wise and archived all of his socials as much as possible before the FBI took it all down. So here's some basics on what we know about him and one really interesting rabbit hole about who he might be. Right off the bat though, it's super early. This is all speculative. Take your time, pump the brakes. We're just digging through dirty laundry. We don't know what sticks yet. But this guy is a private American citizen who traveled to Ukraine on his own dime, to help recruit civilian soldiers to fight for Ukraine and Afghan special forces. He was recruiting on his Facebook page. Here's an archive of all of his tweets that look pretty damn automated to me. They pretty much all look like this. But I grabbed everyone that he followed on Twitter before they deleted it. He only followed 60. And right down at the bottom of that list, which I think indicates his first follow, is this girl named Sue Kim, who is ex-CIA, along with some other very interesting things. But her account is private, meaning why does he follow her? I've been digging around and one of my followers said that they found her in the people that follow him back. He says that she was at the bottom of his followed list, meaning that she followed him right when he made the account. That would make sense, seeing as she's at the bottom of his following list of who he follows too. I mean, every asset needs a handler. And when you go through some of these other affiliations here, you get what is essentially the CIA training grounds at Johns Hopkins University. It explores the relationship between politics and the many kinds of military power, from the use of terror by small non-state groups to the threatened use of nuclear weapons. Its director is John McLaughlin, who is literally an ex-acting director of the CIA and ex-deputy director of the CIA, 3-decade career at the CIA. David is 3rd on the list of people at the top of this institution at the university. 30-year career in Army Special Forces, various special operations, invading various countries, as well as Operation Enduring Freedom. You get the idea. Anyways, RAND Corporation. That's a military-industrial complex think tank, kind of like the Atlantic Council. And LMI.org, yeah, that's like a military-industrial complex education and training program as well. Preliminary findings on the internet when you search our homeboy, the shooter, show his arrest record, including in 2002, possession of weapons of mass destruction, Class F felony. Yeah, that sounds like some operative shit to me. This is a photo of the weapon he used and the setup he had. People are speculating it looks an awful lot like, Russian-Ukrainian class of rifle. He's doing these weird recruitment ops in Ukraine for civilians. Well, he's posting on his Facebook all the time to no followers about how he's recruiting hundreds of civilians to fight for Ukraine. Posting for Afghan special forces to contact him so they can come fight in Ukraine. But he's just a random citizen from Hawaii. And one of the 60 people he follows is this CIA gal that allegedly follows him back. That looks an awful lot like a handler or a contact.
No wonder the legacy media has to toe the line so assiduously when it comes to matters of this nature, because the change in independent media is so epochal and extraordinary that they have to work incredibly hard to ensure that people don't gain access to, if not accurate reporting, then at least open reporting. It's still early in this process and no one can make any definitive claims about Ryan Ralph, but it does seem a little unusual that he has some of the connections that have already been listed. Before we get into Meta's attempt to scrub the online space of any data that could be unfavourable, let's look at Alex Jones's earlier prediction that there would likely be another attempt on the life of Donald Trump. Then we'll have a look at further evidence that he could be a CIA asset, as well as an interview about the Ukraine war in 2022 that Jimmy Dore, our guest on the show today, alluded to. First of all, though, let's look at Alex Jones's prediction that there will be more assassination attempts. Remember, let me know in the comments and the chat what you think about this story. I know Bongino's saying that there's like a mole at the Secret Service. Let me know, guys, where you stand on this.
The deep state already tried to kill him and failed on July 13th of this year, just 40-something days ago. And 2 days after it happened, I came out and said, the deep state is going to try again, and they're going to try to frame Iran. Ladies and gentlemen, I told you that we're not in normal times. World War III, nuclear war is this close. They just fired 5 shots at Trump and hit him in the side of the head. And the media's like, oh, big deal, he survived an assassination attempt. And now they've tried to kill him with a gun. They're going to try to poison him. So Trump, inside circle, listen to me. And I know you've listened before. You've had the Secret Service call me. I've briefed them on stuff. Listen to me. They're going to try to poison him now. This blew up in their face. They failed. They fired 5 shots. They killed 2 people. This means the New World Order is going for broke. But definitely the globalists are scared right now. And in closing, don't you agree they're going to try to kill Trump even more now?
Yeah, he's in the biggest threat. I mean, he needs more protection than he's ever had, because right now it's basically guaranteed, like you said, that he's going to win because more people are coming on board. So he needs to be protected maximum.
All right, folks.
Very, very odd time, isn't it? To try and make any kind of sense of this takes incredible mental discipline. It's certainly beyond my ability to remain sort of calm and compassionate and open. We can't continue to bring you this beautiful content without the support of our partners. 1775 is not normally a date that I hold in high esteem, being a British gentleman and a natural drinker of tea and a natural opposition to your national sovereignty over there in America. As you know, deep down, we still regard you as a colony. Now, Rumble 1775 coffee is a great and different coffee. It's free from pesticides and chemicals and rich in flavor. The beans are sourced from a single high altitude farm in Bolivia. This Bolivian farm only makes coffee, nothing else. It's very, very, very good coffee. Join the coffee revolution today and brew rebellion with Rumble 1775 coffee, even if you are indeed British and hurt by everything that went on during that very dark year for Her Majesty the Queen. Go to 1775coffee.com/brand and use the code BRAND to get 15% off your order. Support Rumble and support freedom of speech. And remember, you should consider getting Rumble Premium so you can have a better experience of Rumble. I can smell this stuff. I'm actually addicted to coffee, so it's like quite an easy thing to get me to advertise. It seems that Ryan Ralph made 19 contributions to Democrats since 2019. There's a little record of that. That's posted by Benny Johnson, of course. And let's have a look at this. That Meta have already attempted to scrub his Facebook page of any information that might have been used. That's already happening. Now, as we just said, there was apparently a video. Ryan Roof was interviewed about Ukraine in 2022. I've not seen this yet. Let's have a look.
Please tell me who you are and why are you here?
I'm 56 from the U.S., from North Carolina originally, so live in Hawaii now, so flew all the way from Hawaii here. So the question as far as why I'm here, to me, you know, a lot of the other conflicts are gray, but this conflict is definitely black and white. This is about good versus evil. This is a storybook, you know, any movie we've ever watched, this is definitely evil against good.
And
Now, that is pretty a reductive analysis from the sort of moon-eyed man-child, as Jimmy Dore said. It's someone that doesn't appear to be particularly politically sophisticated, so that's not a claim that I'm making. What interests me most of all is the fact that there are any connections to the deep state at all, that there seems to be particular connotations when it comes to the subject of war. And once again, the media, whether that's the BBC, CNN or MSNBC, are reporting on this matter in a way that's certainly favourable, one might regard, to the interests of the Democratic Party. I want you to imagine for a moment that this situation was reversed. Can you envisage how it might be reported on if this was an attempt on a candidate on the life of a candidate from another party? I think we're so sort of bewildered by the pace of news, the rate of news, the deluge of new information, that it's obviously impossible to remain objective at the best of times. But now I feel like it's a sort of kind of like almost diabetic sugar rush pace of constant new information I can't keep up with. How are you supposed to make sense of this now? How are you meant to offer a proper prognosis on what's going to happen between now and the election when there's been 2 assassination attempts on the life of Donald Trump? It doesn't seem like there's been enough time. It's like when the Beatles used to release singles too close to each other, and they used to all be like the top 5 in the charts was all Beatles records. These assassination attempts are coming so quickly, I haven't really got over the last one.
and what are you doing here in Ukraine?
My initial goal was to come and fight. I think, everybody around the globe should be motivated to come here and support the Ukrainians and to support the army, no matter what gender, age, anything. Everybody should be here supporting the army. But I'm 56, so initially they were like, well, I have no military experience. So they're like, you're not an ideal candidate. So they said, not right this minute. So plan B was to come here to Kyiv and promote getting more people here. We need thousands and thousands and thousands of people here fighting with the Ukrainians. We need, we've got 190 countries around the world, and we need thousands from all of them. If the governments will not send their official military, then we civilians have to pick up the torch and make this thing happen.
That's extraordinary. I suppose if that were another issue, another subject, another conflict, it would be difficult not to see that kind of rhetoric as the result of radicalisation. Do you remember how popular that term was when young British men and women were joining ISIS? What's radicalised them? Increasingly, I'm beginning to believe that what we regard as the mainstream dominant culture is in itself extreme. Extreme in that it extracts real compassion. Extreme in that it extracts real reason. Extreme in that it encourages a kind of institutional solipsism. What I mean by that is that all of us live so sort of entrenched within our own thoughts and within our own wants and within our own fears that we've lost touch not only with our divine selves but even our animal selves. That every concept that would have once been regarded as ordinary and normal within our culture, whether that's gender identity or family, has become chaotic and mercurial and challenged. And I'll just let you know that personally, I believe that people should be free to express themselves however they wanna, as long as it's consensual and age appropriate, and as long as it's in harmony with the actions and wants and requirements and in respect towards other people. But I tell you, we're entering into an oddly nihilistic period of ubiquitous despair, constant crises, and a cycle of news stories that's very, very difficult to keep track of. I just like the Weinsteins, Brett and Eric. It's difficult to imagine that early in November there's going to be an election and Trump or Kamala will be elected and the other party will sort of bow respectfully and will get on with the business of running your country, America, and using diplomacy to bring about peace in the Middle East and de-escalate tensions there and end this senseless and unwinnable war against Russia. It doesn't seem at all likely, does it? It seems what's likely is yet more hysteria and yet more madness. His friend of the show and guest that we just had now, Jimmy Dore, on the subject, quick ex-post of his, he's talking about that Newsweek interview and how sort of simplistic his approach was, and indeed reiterating the point that he made during our interview about radicalization. Perhaps the problem is that we truly live in a radicalized society now. Radicalized nihilism, radicalized indifference, radicalized delusion, radicalized disconnection from meaning and from spirit and from family and from love, a globalized and corporatized carousel, redundant of meaning, redolent only of the kind of luminosity that emerges from the darkest forces imaginable. By that I mean the kind of light that comes from evil. But that's just what I think. Why don't you let me know what you guys think in the comments and chat. Remember, if you're watching this anywhere other than Rumble, like and subscribe. And if you're watching it on Rumble, like and subscribe and consider becoming a member of Rumble Premium. And if you're not an Awakened Wonder yet, why ain't you an Awakened Wonder? You can become an Awakened Wonder and you can get a month free if you use the code that we have at the moment, Nawaz. That's in offer of our most recent guest, Maajid Nawaz. Hey, thanks for watching. If you want to see more uncensored content where free speech can flourish, join our live stream. Click the link right here to watch the next video if you want to, or become a member of a growing movement. Download the Rumble app and you'll be informed every time we make a new piece of content. Stay free.